Hey, welcoming you Gooshbagz to the Week 13 edition of the 2020 Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast. I am your host, of course, the host with the most, the commissioner of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League, and, of course, the reigning champ and soon-to-be back-to-back champ because I got a shot, baby. It's going to be a great week because I got James on with me this week. James, happy belated birthday, number one. Your birthday was yesterday. Otherwise, how you doing, James?
I am doing good right now.
That's good.
I'm doing good.
How do you feel after our matchup this week?
A little down in the dumps.
But like we were saying, no harm, no foul for you.
Oh no,
you did lose. You lost the 1 seed, but you still got the bye, which is really what matters. So
can relax a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, take a break, take a week off, and just kind of kick back, watch some football without having to worry about fantasy, and just kind of go with the flow, huh?
That's right.
There you go. All right, well, we'll start with the big news in the NFL. We had a couple of injuries this week. Nothing too big. One could be Brandon Cooks got another concussion. He's kind of had some concussion issues in his time in the NFL, so who knows if this will kind of keep him out, or he can't have too many more, or else he's going to be at risk of, I forgot what it's like, more permanent brain damage, I believe, just due to all the concussions. Yeah. Just a higher risk of it, I think. The more you have, obviously the higher risk. And then Frank Gore also got a concussion on like the first play of the game.
Yeah, he's on your squad.
He is. I picked him up for last week because he did good 2 weeks ago, and I just kind of grabbed him so nobody else would have him, and so I would have kind of the depth piece in case somebody went down. But not so great for me anymore. But all right, the top scorer in the league this week, we had Benaya getting hot. He's got 2 weeks in a row where he got the top score in the league. He had 137.8 fantasy points this week on his way to victory and locking himself in the playoffs. So that's good for him. Bad for me because I got him this week. So we'll start with that. We'll go into what happened. We'll go overall what happened, and then we can go into more specifics, the matchups in general. But for the playoff picture, my jumbled mess last week of going through all the different scenarios, what could possibly happen. Basically, for me personally, the only way I could get in was if Chad lost, if Courts lost, and Courts was playing against Adam, who is the worst team in the league. Worst team in the league, single digits McGee. He was going up against single digits McGee, so I was not very confident going into this. And of course, I needed the win in order to tie them at 6 and 7. So I was able to take down James. I beat James 129.26 to 107.52 fantasy points, and it was watching that Tuesday night game was just agonizing for all parties because I was rooting for Adam's team because he needed like 17 points, and he had Zeke and Justin Tucker going into Zeke against the Ravens, and Zeke has not been playing well.
Right.
And then Justin Tucker, and it was just agonizing to be like paying attention to that game and watching the score like slowly creep up. There were no like big chunk plays that ended up. He just kind of like slowly chipped away and finally took him over. And huge shout out to Adam for getting that W. That was big for me. And now I got a shot to be the back-to-back champ of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League. So otherwise, like people who locked their bid, all those people at 7 and 5. Like we're all kind of jumbled as far as, who knows. But actually everybody who had 7 and 5 made it into the playoffs. Who was 7 and 5 last week made it into the playoffs because both Chad and Courts lost. So they couldn't have the opportunity to kick anybody else out. So we have you who was at 8 and 4 going into last week.
Yep.
Yeah, so you had already locked your place, like we said. And then everybody got 7-5, so we had 4 guys at 7-5, and then I got the very last spot in the playoffs. So
congratulations.
thank you. And now I got, the last time that the Packers won the Super Bowl, they were the wild card seed. So don't count me out, guys. I'm coming for you. But yeah. So we'll jump right in. We'll go into our matchup here. We'll start with your team, James. Overall, how did you feel about how your team performed this week?
I don't know. I was disappointed at a couple games for sure. Let's see if I go to, well, here, let me do a little bit of searching around.
Sorry, I probably screwed you up by going into the playoff bracket. Threw it off.
No, I think I was clicking around too many tabs. It's not loading for me.
That's all right.
Here you go.
You got it now? There you go.
Yep. Well, who would have thought that, T.Y. Hilton would have gone off, when he's been less than 10 throughout the whole entire season up until the last 2 weeks. And then the same thing kind of with, well, not the same thing, but Derek Carr, man. Mm-hmm. That was a shootout game. So that was my 2 bench players that I was just really disappointed at.
Yeah, I mean, if those guys had been in instead of maybe Nyheim Hines or Pat Mahomes, you probably would have caught up there.
Yep, that would have been a closer game for sure. And also the Steelers defense, laid a rotten egg.
Yeah, that was rough, man. I was surprised that Washington was able to play the Steelers that well. But yeah, it wasn't too hot for a couple players on your team. Like Hunter Henry only put up 1 fantasy point for you. Like we were saying, I mean, Nyheim Hines wasn't too bad. He still had 10 fantasy points. Kareem Hunt had 7 fantasy points, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And then Pat Mahomes had 19, so that was also kind of disappointing. But you did have Cole Beasley in the lineup, which was bold, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Actually, I hated it because I was going against you and I was terrified. But dude, the Beasles.
Yeah, he's had looking at his stats, I was like, I might as well just pick him up, because, Will Fuller is suspended. And so I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. You needed somebody to kind of fill in for you there, and he did his job. He's getting the targets, man. He's getting those targets. He had 11 targets last game, so he put up 9 for 130. So that's a beast of a game for Cole Beasley. And then Aaron Jones, obviously, against that Philadelphia defense. Most of that came on that one big play.
Yeah, man. In the fourth quarter, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I had to watch all these, videos of recaps just to keep myself up to date because I was watching the games, but then it's like I gotta, refresh my memory some of this stuff, or otherwise I'm gonna be completely lost in this podcast. So,
oh, don't worry about it.
So,
but did you watch that big clip of Aaron Jones? Is that why you brought it up?
I did when he was spinning around from the 15-yard line until the end zone. So yeah, that was crazy.
That was insane. That was a lot of fun though. That Packers game was fun to watch. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, like I said, there weren't off. I mean, there was the Hunter Henry and the Steelers D kind of let you down, but otherwise, it wasn't too bad. It just you didn't have the big upside from some of your players that you're hoping for. So
and with Nick Chubb back in, Kareem Hunt isn't getting the touches either.
Yeah,
so
he's kind of lost some of his value a little bit. Yep. I mean, which is kind of surprising because he was good at the beginning of the year when
he was
Nick
solid.
Chubb was there. So I'm surprised that he's not as efficient now that Chubb is back again. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But on feast mode here, we had some big games. We had Ryan Tannehill putting up 27 fantasy points against Cleveland. That was a shootout.
That was a shootout game, yeah, too. Yep.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I was watching some of the highlights from that game. That was a lot of fun to watch. Dalvin Cook put up 24 fantasy points, 20.9 fantasy points this week.
Yep, 20.9, yep.
Yeah. James Robinson, dude, that duo,
Yeah,
they're gonna push me through the playoffs, man. Those two running backs, it's gonna help. But other than that, like it was just kind of average games from the rest of my team. I did have a Packers defense put up 12, so that was good.
yeah, they did
Um,
pretty well in the last quarter. I
yeah,
mean, so
yeah, it was kind of terrifying. Like in the middle of the game, they kind of started giving up points, like in the end of the second, beginning of the third
yep,
quarter,
yep.
and then they started locking it down again. So that was good.
You know,
But
Allen Robinson surprised me too.
yeah, dude.
I mean, I'm not big with how the Bears are doing as far as, fantasy wise, because they're just such an average team.
Right.
So, I mean but I would if I look at what he's been doing throughout the year, I mean,
Yeah, he's been consistent.
consistent, yeah,
Yeah,
consistent.
exactly. And he's had a couple of big games. So, I mean, and he's got some really good matchups going forward. This is why I traded for him. I got rid of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Chad's probably super pissed about that trade now. But I got rid of Clyde because I knew that Allen Robinson had such a great schedule after his bye. So he has, yeah, Houston, then Minnesota, then Jacksonville for the next 3 weeks. And those are fantastic
Yeah,
matchups.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm stoked, and he's the wide receiver one, no matter who's in
right.
at quarterback. So
Yeah, I mean, that's the familiar name. As much football as I've been watching this year, I'd sure know that Allen Robinson is one of the go-to guys.
oh, for sure. So yeah, hopefully he can help this playoff push. So we'll move on to matchup number two, and this one didn't really mean too much. Eventually didn't really mean too much because Mix and Mac got the win, 122.88 fantasy points to Good Juju's 88.42 fantasy points, and like I was saying, Mix and Mac, Neil had a very outside chance of making the playoffs. He was like basically out of it. He needed to score like more than 200 points, more than everybody else, in order to even make it in. So, Neil, I respect that you've won the last few weeks and kind of pulled yourself out of the hole, but unfortunately, it didn't quite get you to the playoffs. And on Ryo's side, it didn't really make a difference because he made it into the playoffs anyways. But it's a good confidence killer going into the playoffs. So, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like I was saying, we got let's look at the studs on Mix and Mac first.
let's
We got
see.
Lamar Jackson putting up 25.68 fantasy points.
You got Darren Whaler,
Yeah.
Waller,
Darren Waller putting up 38.5.
38. Yeah,
That's one of the biggest tight end scores I've seen in a long time.
right. Like, actually tight ends were big this weekend.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, they
were.
were all around, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that because on our waiver wire team, we actually have our tight end, and then we have the flex position, which can be wide receiver, running back, or tight end. That's also a tight end because they scored the next highest, amount of points. So it was kind of surprising to see the tight end showing up this week when it's in general it's been kind of a hit or miss position.
Yeah, yep.
He also had Jonathan Taylor here with 21 with a big 21 fantasy points. So solid showing from three players on your team. As far as everybody else, the Colts D did pretty good. They had 10. As far as everybody else though, man, Gio Bernard only had 3.9 points. Benny Snell with 2 points. It was kind of a rough going for everybody else on Mix and Mac. So fortunately, he had the 20 and 30 point games from his three players that kind of boosted him. I mean, not that he needed a huge boost against Good Juju,
Right, right.
but yeah, it definitely boosted up his score there. On Good Juju's team, he didn't really have any boom weeks this week. He had, Alvin Kamara had 16 fantasy points, 16.7, and that was the highest on his team. Um, just kind of a bunch of average games. Jalen Richard only had 2 fantasy points. I think he was filling in for Josh Jacobs this week. I think Josh Jacobs was out. Yeah. So kind of disappointing out of Jalen Richard. The Jets kind of shut him down. Um, yeah, otherwise there's not a lot to talk about on good juju. So hopefully you can turn it around here in the first couple weeks. But DeAndre Hopkins actually had a good week. We've been talking about how he's kind of had a rough time the last few weeks, but he had 15 fantasy points, so that was good to see. A little bit of a confidence boost.
Yeah, he did pretty solid. Wasn't he? Was he with the Texans? Or was
Yeah.
that? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I was making sure
Yeah,
because
in the middle
there's
of
all
last
this.
season. Yeah, in the middle of last season, they traded David Johnson and like a sixth round pick for DeAndre Hopkins last year. So now he's on Arizona, and David Johnson's on the Houston Texans. So
Nice.
yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
it's been a good stack for Arizona this year. Like DeAndre
right.
Hopkins has been a beast. So
Well, and then I've seen Kyler Murray.
hmm
He's a rising star. It seems
oh
like.
yeah,
I
he's been
mean,
great.
yeah. I mean, their record is 6-6 now, or is it?
I'm not sure. Did they lose this week? It might be 6-7.
I think Arizona lost by 10. I was looking at the replay. I can't think
Yeah.
what they
Yeah, they
were.
lost to the Rams.
So they're 6-7, right?
Uh, Probably third in the NFC West standings here. Yeah, they're 6-6
Oh, okay.
because it was week 13 and they've had their bye, so everybody's played 12 games instead of 13. Yeah, so they're 6-6. So I don't know, they're doing okay. I think their defense is just not that good, and their offense is still kind of finding themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
all right, on to matchup number 3 this week. I have my tight end Ertzon Eifert versus Big Ben's bathroom. And fortunately for me, my tight end Ertzon Eifert took down Big Ben's bathroom and knocked him out of the playoffs. Uh, my tight end Ertz scored 121.94 points to Big Ben's 74.36 fantasy points. And this was just, it was a rough game for Big Ben's bathroom. We'll start there. Justin Herbert, the pervert.
Herbert the pervert. I like
that's that's
that.
uh that's Chad's nickname for Herb, Big Herb. Yeah, this was his first rough game against New England, and Bill Belichick. Let me tell you what, he knows how to shut down some offenses. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so he only had 4.36 fantasy points. I got the big Clyde Edwards-Helaire that I traded away to him. A little grenade in his pocket. Had 0 fantasy points this week. He was a healthy scratch. I think he was coming back from getting hurt or illness. It was an illness, I think, at the end of last week. And yeah, he just didn't play. He was active, but he just didn't play. The Bears D put up -2 against Detroit, so that's rough. I mean, otherwise, like, nobody scored above. His kicker was his highest scoring player, who scored 14 fantasy points. So, yeah, it's rough.
I
Rough
mean,
going for Big Ben's bathroom. I mean, he had a rough beginning of the year. Saquon Barkley and Kenny Galladay, both have been injured for a very long time. So like those are 2 top, 4 rounds, maybe the top 3 rounds picks. So that's kind of a rough. 2 of his top 3 picks were just kind of,
they just had
duds.
bad luck. Yeah.
Yeah, so that sucks. But yeah, there's always next year, Chad. Just try not to win yourself those calendar pictures. On to my tight end Ertzon Eifert. We have also not too many big games. You had Travis Kelce with 23.6 fantasy points. Travis Kelce's been a beast. He's been a monster this year. He hasn't had any. He had one game that was 4.6 fantasy points, and one that was 8.5, and everything else has been above
Like,
11 points.
which is crazy
It's
for tight
insane.
ends. Yeah.
Exactly. So he is definitely locked and loaded every single week. Otherwise, yeah, Derrick Henry had a rough game against Cleveland, which is surprising. Um, He only had 5.4 fantasy points. And let's see, he had Jamison Crowder who put up 19 fantasy points. He had a big day against Las Vegas. Like you said, that was a shootout, so he did good. Chris Carson was up there with 18.5 fantasy points. That's decent, but otherwise, I mean, there weren't a lot of boom games and a couple of busts there for my tight end Ertz, but he pulled out the win for me, so that's what I needed. And with that win, he became the #1 overall seed, so he passed you up there.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, with the same record. I mean,
same record. He
same record doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day.
That's true. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, congrats for Aaron taking that 1 seed and getting a bye this week. And yeah, Chad, better luck next year, my man. Better luck next year. All right, on to the next matchup. We have Tom Ron Bragers versus Team IR. Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you? Ever since you've started changing your name every single week. Do you listen to the podcast or no?
I have listened to it. Was it 3 times? It was like out of order though.
That's fine.
So yeah, but yeah.
So do you just like change your name just to mess with me every single week, or
no? Not at all. I'm just
I've stopped trying to like say your team name, and I just say James's team because like it's always something different, and like sometimes it's unreadable, sometimes it's just a bunch of numbers or
just a bunch,
the numbers. What was that?
That was the top scorers of that week as far as fantasy goes.
Oh, that's what they scored.
That I could fit in the slot, and then the numbers. Yeah, that was just pie. So I was like, I'm just gonna make it all numbers.
Nice. So
I was just that little theme.
Yeah, there you go. And then you had the corn.
Yeah, corn. The corn. Eating corn while watching corn in a cornfield or something like that. Yeah.
It's diving into the mind of James Sullivan.
Yeah.
What are we gonna find? Anyways. All right. Tom Ron Bragers put up 137.8 fantasy points this week, and like we said, he has been hot. He got that Alexander Hamilton $10 this week, so congratulations to Tom Ron Bragers. Team IR only put up 85.42 fantasy points. You're lucky though, because you still made it into the playoffs. So you're allowed to have a down week, but if you lose this week, my man, it's gonna be rough for you. It's gonna be rough. We'll start with Team IR because there's a few duds here. No real studs. Harrison Butker though, kicker, putting up 17 fantasy points, and once again. Oh, I was going to say that's the best on his team, but that's wrong.
Oh, that's 17.1.
Nick
Chubbs. Yeah.
There you go. So, so, I mean, those were the 2 big scorers. Otherwise, Michael Thomas put up 15, but Jonnu Smith had the big goose egg. Todd Gurley only had 0 fantasy points.
0.
Oh, I think he wasn't supposed to play. He was projected for 0, so maybe he was just out. Yeah, he was sidelined, so I don't know if you're paying attention to your lineup or not, but you didn't have a tight end in there that was playing. Todd Gurley only had 2.5 fantasy points. I think he's just been bad. He's working his way back into the lineup, I guess. He was hurt. So, I don't know, man. It looked a little rough for Team IR. Russ isn't cooking like he was at the beginning of the year. The last few weeks, he's had 15, 14, 20, and then 9.92. So it's been rough going, but he does have the Jets coming up here. He has Washington and the Rams. So good matchup this week, but then the next 2 weeks are not so hot. On Benaya's side, we got Aaron Rodgers, who put up 23.5 fantasy points. He's stacking him and Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
29.1 fantasy points. Devontae Adams has been a monster. He's been so good. Like, Literally, I mean, besides the fact that he got hurt, number one, he missed 2 games, and he's still the number 2 wide receiver in the league, points scored for fantasy football, um,
which is
which is
crazy.
insane. And actually, the week 2 is where he got hurt, and he only had 5 points that game. He didn't play that whole game, so it's just been insane, man.
Then after that, he had the 9 point, but then after that, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
like
just been a monster.
over 14.
Each week. So it's looking good for Team Tom Ron Bragers going into the playoffs here. And like I said, David Montgomery, like he's been good, and he's got the same matchups that Allen Robinson does. So those are looking good, looking like some tasty matchups for fantasy football. So you're in good shape. The only thing is you're having a tough time at your running back 2 spot.
And
I guess he has Kenyon Drake, but I mean we'll have to figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. But yeah, otherwise it was a good solid week. No
good
real duds,
outing.
like we were saying. Devontae Booker was the only one that kind of had a rough game. So good outing. Any other notes there that you got, James?
No, just was looking at the Raiders and what they've done the whole year.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
defense. Yeah,
yeah,
it was a bold
it's
play playing him against the Jets this week because yeah, they've had -6 and 0 the last 2 weeks.
yep. Now,
So,
oh well, yeah, he does have the Bills defense, so
yeah, he's got another D, but they're playing against Kansas City, no Pittsburgh
that
this
is,
week. So
yeah, Pittsburgh, yeah,
so
because
we'll see if
Denver's after that.
yeah we'll see if he wants to play the Bills this week. He might have to find himself a defense. So
That should be a good matchup, though.
it should be. So we'll see how it goes. All right, on to the last matchup of last week, and this was the biggest matchup of them all because it came down to the
Let's go.
last game and down to 2 fantasy points. We have the Breeze Knees versus my tight ends are ass cheeks, and the Breeze Knees takes him down in not overtime, but in the
My
very last few seconds of the very last game of the week. 107.94 fantasy points to 105.6. And like I said, Ezekiel Elliott was my saving grace. He had 11.5 fantasy points, and Justin Tucker put up a 9 fantasy points in order to get him over the hump and get that W over my tight ends or ass cheeks. Other studs on his team, those were just the shining stars, even though they didn't score the most points. Um, Kirk Cousins put
Kirk
up a good
Cousins.
21 fantasy points. Otherwise, it was just like a lot of solid games, nothing too bad, nothing too good. Good. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I mean, the way I think of it is if you get over 10 points, I mean, I'm saying you're having a really good game week.
Yeah,
The only dud was Evan Ingram.
right. Go ahead, 5.
So 5.2.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Pretty
I
decent week,
mean,
huh?
yeah, pretty solid week for Adam.
Now let's look at my tight ends or ass cheeks. His is a very different story. He's got a lot of booms and busts.
Right.
This is what makes it fun. He's got Josh Allen with 30.1 fantasy points, scored almost half the points for his team. He's got Justin Jefferson who put up 22.8. It was a revenge game for Justin Jefferson, putting up 22.8 fantasy points against his former owner, the Breeze Knees. And then the Dolphins defense put up a solid 16 fantasy points this week against Cincinnati. Otherwise, like all of his running backs were not good. Terry McLaurin was not good. It was just a rough game for a few of his players, and it cost him, man. It cost him. I don't
Let's
know.
see.
He could have put in Brandon Ayuk over Terry McLaurin. I don't know what you were thinking, but that would have won you the week, Courts, and gotten you into the playoffs. Take that as you will.
Does he have 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got Big Ben as well.
He's saving them for next year.
Saving them for next year. Are you keeping all of your quarterbacks next year, Courts? He probably could save. Well, it depends on when he drafted Josh Allen. He drafted him in the 10th. I think he grabbed him right before I was going to because I probably would have grabbed Josh Allen in the 10th. But yeah, man, it was a big week for the Breeze knees. All right, on to my favorite segment of the week. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I wrote down some notes if I know what we're going into.
The waiver wire, or no?
No, the waiver wire that would kick all of our butts.
Yes, that's the one.
All right.
That's the one. We're going into it. So, what did you fill out a full lineup here?
Yes.
All right, go for
it.
And
I'm pretty sure that well, no, we'll just see. So I had Matthew Stafford for 26.08.
He was up there, but he wasn't the top.
I know.
Okay.
I think there are some that are off.
Okay. So, all right. I'll let you go through the whole thing.
So then I had Ty Johnson.
Yep.
Which, then again, I don't know if he's the top.
He was.
And then there is Cam Akers.
Cam Akers did good. I think he was on a team though.
He's
not. No, you're right. He's not. He's not on a team. Sorry.
And then so we have Henry Ruggs the third.
Okay, yeah.
13.9. And then Tim Patrick.
Yep.
With 18.4.
Yeah.
And then for both the tight end and the flex, I have tight ends. Logan Thomas with 20.3. And then Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, Gesicki.
Oh, that's right. There is an I. I can't read my own handwriting.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange last name.
And then so I was 19.3 for him, and then the defense was the Patriots.
Yep.
Stud defense that game where they scored 0 points. The Chargers.
Yeah.
And then the kicker for Washington with 14.
There you go. Yeah. You got most of them. The only, like I said, Baker at the top. He was the best. He had 2 more points than Matt Stafford. You're the first person that's done this though. That's put together a waiver wire team. So I love it. I'm loving it.
You know, I did it where I took a snapshot of every single.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I kind of put some effort into it because I didn't want to sound like I was completely lost.
No, yeah,
So then, you know, it's all labeled where, you know, all waivers are yellow marked, and so I'm like, all right, you know, let's look at, you know, who scored the most, and wrote it down, and it came to a total of 174.58.
There you go. Hey, that would have beat Benaya. So that beat all of us. Just for future reference, do you use your phone or do you use the computer when you do this?
I use the computer more often. It's easier for me to navigate around.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I haven't done it on the computer, but if you go to players and then add players.
Let's see, players, add players.
Yeah, so that'll have all of the players that are just on waivers.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you click on the position, so like QB.
Isn't the let's see. Available, let's see, and then oh, and then can't you sort it out by points or something like that?
If you on the very far right side, it says last. So if you just click that, it'll bring up the top player.
Yep.
Just for future reference, no problem.
I was like 2 points off.
you were just a few points off. I ended up finding a team that was 183 points, so only 8 more points. So it was pretty close. So, dude, I am so happy that you put in the effort to make yourself a team. Like I said, nobody else did that. I'm so glad that you did that. And guess what, Benaya? James's waiver wire team kicked your ass. So there you go. There you go.
Benaya.
Hi, Benaya. Shout out to Benaya.
Aaron Rodgers or
Right. Tom Ron
Tom
Bragers.
Ron
That's it.
Rogers.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to do a very short segment that talks about. Well, let me introduce the segment first. Are you ready, James?
Yes.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
That's great.
I just hope I can win a game too. All right, Jim Morrow, let's see what we got. So I'm gonna go through the brackets first. So like I was saying, I just did the changes to the consolation ladder to make sure that 7 is playing 10 and 8 is playing 9. So we'll do that first. We have matchup number 1 in the consolation ladder. We have number 7 seed, my tight ends are ass cheeks, versus number 10 seed, the Breeze Knees. It's a rematch of last week's game. Let's see if they get up for it and take each other down. Like I said, so these 4 teams play each other this week, and then the winners of each game play each other, and the losers of each other play each other. Of the losers of each game play each other in week 15. And the week 15 is like the championship for the consolation ladder. So so the winners play the winners, and they don't have to worry about the calendar or the license plate frame. But those 2 losers of these 2 games play each other next week, the following week in week 15. And the loser of that game has to have a license plate frame for a year, and they have to take 12 goofy ass pictures of themselves, and we're gonna send them along to Quartz. And Quartz's fiance, Megan, shout out to Megan, has offered to put together a calendar for us, and we can order the calendar and get it sent off to everybody in the league for the next year. All of 2021, you get to see one of our ugly mugs on every single page. So looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys follow through. If you don't, then you guys are no fun because you guys suck. But I hope we follow through with it because I think it's a lot of fun to have a calendar of your buddy up there being goofy and and celebrating his loss of the year. So hopefully it's Adam because that would be really funny.
I could see Adam having the most fun with it.
Oh, for sure. So, like I said, we got a rematch on this consolation ladder. Rematch of this previous week, the big matchup, which is Quartz versus Adam. And then the other matchup in the consolation ladder, we have number 8 seed, Big Ben's Bathroom, versus number 9 seed, Mix and Mac. So that should also be a good matchup. So we'll see how that goes. We'll be previewing it a little bit later, but I'm just going through the brackets right now. All right, in the winners bracket, the playoff bracket, the official playoff bracket, we have the number 1 seed overall, my tight end Ertzwin Eifert. He is the draft and done. He did not do anything this year, drafted and didn't touch his team the rest of the year, and somehow he managed to get that number 1 seed. But don't matter. Next week, we're going to take you down. Either Team IR or Good Juju is going to come out that matchup and just wreck your shit. So, speaking of which, we'll go to you first. The number 2 seed is you. You are no longer in my Will Fuller lineup because he's Will Fuller and suspended. So you got the number 2 seed there. You got the bye. You got to relax for a week, see how the rest of us do. Let all of our other all of our players get injured this week while you're resting on the sidelines. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But you got the nice break, and you're going to be taking on the winner of me and Benaya. So number 3 seed is Tom Ron Bragers, and he's taking on number 6 seed Feast Mode, who eked his way into the playoffs just barely, and he is the huge underdog in this playoff matchup. So we'll see how that goes. And the number 4 seed, Good Juju, is playing number 5 seed, Team IR. So that is the playoff bracket. All of you who do not see it, you can take a look at it on the ESPN website. And like I said, I edited that consolation bracket so that the number 7 is playing number 10 and 8 is playing 9. So we will have seeded matchups there as well. All right. Are you ready for matchups for next week, James? We are going to project them or predict them, and it's going to be fun. All right. Let me write your name in here so that I have a record of what we guessed.
All right.
Yeah, if you want to go to the first one will be my matchup with Benaya. Yeah. So you take a look at that, get a little sneak peek here, and an idea of who you think you want to pick.
All right, let's see. So right. I'm on a page where there's a win probability.
There's column. A win probability column?
Yes.
Where?
So so if you go to scoreboard.
Yeah.
And then you go to, I think it's matchup.
Yeah.
And then the next page, it should have a win probability.
The next page? Where?
Yeah.
Wait, can you share your screen?
In
that bottom right corner.
Is that under the more, right?
Yeah. Try under more. Share screen.
Jeez. It's not here.
Wait. Where are you finding win probability?
Okay, so
it has a percentage?
Yeah. So let's see. I'll try to direct you from where I have. So okay. All right.
So you have the matchup page.
So you go to. So if you go to the standings.
Yeah.
And then you go to the playoff bracket.
Oh, playoff bracket. Oh, okay.
And then you go to
the matchup itself.
That's.
If I were to click on our matchup.
No. You go to scoreboard.
Okay.
In the top right, and then you find.
Oh.
And then there's a matchup link or page, and then it goes to win probability. If.
Oh.
See that?
Interesting. Fantasy Cast is brought to you. Oh yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's dope. So I've never seen this page before.
Yeah, I was looking around, getting myself familiar with the page, so I'm not completely lost, and I was like, huh.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so
right now, what's that win probability?
It is 51% in
for Benia's Raiders. Yeah.
And I'm gonna go with that.
You're going with it?
I'm gonna go with it. With Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and it's and then I got rid of that the kicker from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like that was the worst move I've ever made.
Yeah, he's been great.
And he's been solid. Yeah, I mean the most points he scored was like 21, I think.
Yeah.
And then he scored like 12 or 14 on Sunday. Yeah. If I remember correctly.
Well, Atlanta is key because they don't score touchdowns; they just kick field goals.
Yeah. So I mean, if you get like 25 or whatever from Rodgers and Devontae, and then I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Mr. Koo.
Oh, Young Hui, I think is how it's pronounced.
Young Hui Koo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he gets like 12 or 14, I mean, that's going to be like 50 points right there.
It's true. It's true.
So, Drake has been solid. If I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean, he's putting up 14 plus points in the past 3 weeks. No, well, 12 plus points in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You've got Dalvin Cook going for you.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Tannehill, I mean, who are they playing?
Jacksonville, who has been atrocious.
I mean, if you look at that, I mean, when you're up by like 20 points, you're gonna run the ball
That's what you think.
more often than well.
No, that's
Let's just
probably true.
so I'm gonna go with Benai. And
All right.
I know who you pick. You're always
I
picking yourself, so
Of course, I always pick myself. So, yeah, I mean, I think the argument for me is that like my teams have some great matchups this week. I got Ryan Tannehill against Jacksonville, Dalvin Cook against Tampa Bay. That'll probably be tougher, but Dalvin Cook is just an essential part of that offense. James Robinson against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense really hasn't been that good this year. Keenan Allen against Atlanta. That's going to be huge. Allen Robinson against Houston. Houston sucks. Noah Fant against Carolina. We'll see. I might be. I don't know. I might try to swap away from Noah Fant here. See what's going on. Maybe we'll take a look. See here. We got Deontay Johnson against Buffalo. I think that'll be a. That's going to be a big game. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. I think that's going to be a shootout, even though it's Pittsburgh. But I think Pittsburgh and Buffalo, that's going to be a shootout. And so I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than you think it is. And I think I'm going to have to pick myself, of course, to make it out of this first round and take you on in the second round on my way to a championship. That's what's going to happen.
All right.
On to matchup number 2, which is Team IR versus Good Juju. So
this is like right down the middle.
This is right down the middle. Yeah, this is basically they're projected right next to each other.
Yeah.
But look at Team IR there. True to the team name, everybody on this team is questionable.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I have a tough time believing in Team IR, and I always have ever since the beginning. So I'm going to have to go with Good Juju, even though he didn't have a great week this week. Now he's got I don't know. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be back this week. So he'll be able to wait, he doesn't have Josh Jacobs. He's got Ronald Jones. How's he been? Ronald Jones he was decent last week. So we'll see. I mean, he's playing against Minnesota's defense, who isn't that good. So maybe he'll be putting in Ronald Jones instead of Jalen Richard. Yeah, I think I've got Good Juju this week. I got some good matchups on that side. And I just have a tough time believing that Team IR is going to pull one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I was actually looking at this earlier tonight, and I'm gonna go with Good Juju as well.
There you go, my man.
Then
stuff in. All right. So the third matchup. There's only 4 matchups this week because we got 2 people on bye. So the third matchup is my tight ends are ass cheeks versus Big Ben's bathroom. And I think this is kind of going to be a revenge after Big Ben's bathroom's bad week last week. Like you said, the percentage, whatever win percentage is probably pretty far in Courts' favor here.
Yep, it's by 4%.
There you go. So, yeah, I think that Justin Herbert's gonna have a bounce back game against Atlanta. Is Myles Gaskin hurt this week? Nah, he's good. Yeah, his Clyde Edwards-Helaire hasn't been fantastic. T. Higgins against Dallas, that'll be a good matchup, but T. Higgins hasn't done much with the backup quarterback in there. Joe Burrow down. Tyreek Hill versus Miami is going to be good. yeah. Otherwise, I just don't see Big Ben's bathroom really pulling through here. I think I'm gonna have to go with my tight ends or ass cheeks. Plus, we got Christian McCaffrey back, probably.
He's still under question. I mean, but yeah, when he's running, I mean, he's solid.
Yeah.
But I thought I saw him running earlier this year, like, you know, where he is injured, but you know, that might have been a different player that
He came back. He came back 1 week against me. Actually, I was playing against Courts, and he came
maybe
back and
that
played
was
1 week.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
maybe
did
that's
really
what
good.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was pretty recent, so which was week 9. So, let's see. We got yeah, I was looking over at Bree's knees and got Kirk Cousins. I'm looking at Ezekiel Elliott. He's questionable, but you know, just
Wait,
overall.
we're doing Big Ben's bathroom versus my tight ends or ass cheeks. That's what I was looking at. You were looking at the Breeze knees with Zeke, and that'll be the next matchup. Do you want to go to that one instead? We can go to that one.
Oh, did you? I thought you did say my tight end. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, I did. Yeah, I said I was picking my tight ends or ass cheeks. Did you say who you wanted?
No. I was just looking over. But that's fine. I mean, you know,
dude, I give you some time to look. Have you had a chance to look through this matchup?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much, but let's look at a little bit more. You know, Javaris Landry, I have no idea how he's been doing. I think he did a decent game. Yeah, he did. 16, Javaris Landry.
Oh yeah, we're going through the Breeze knees and Mix and Mac. Here we go. Yeah, Jarvis, he had a good game last week, I think, right? No, yeah, the last 2 weeks he's been decent.
Yeah, I'm gonna see.
Adams actually got like a decent team.
Yeah, he does.
Well, he did some trades at the end of the year here that kind of gave him some better players. It's a little too late, but I think he's got the edge this week because Mix and Mac just isn't looking too hot. You know, Neil might end up with this Sacco trophy, and you know the he's not in good shape here right now. I'm gonna have to go with the Breeze knees in this matchup.
Yeah, you know, I'm picking them too, even though the win probability is in Courts' favor. I think a lot of these players, you know, I just have a feeling that they're gonna have a good week.
Wait, which matchup are you looking at?
This is unless it's a different matchup. This is it's tight ends are ass cheeks and then the Breeze knees.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, you're right. You're right. I am confused because I changed the playoffs after I think I pulled.
Is this
No, you're right. You're right.
Correctly?
No, yeah, I am wrong. I switched them up after I pulled this up because I wanted 7 to play 10 and 8 to play 9. Mm-hmm. So that is completely my fault. The matchups got switched. So it's Big Ben's bathroom versus
Mix and Mac.
Mix and Mac, right. All right. I confused myself. You were right. I was wrong. And we got my tight ends. Versus. All right, I am so sorry. Let's take a look at this matchup because this is a completely different matchup.
Yeah, this is Courts.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, no, you're right. I think I'm actually gonna go with Courts here. Like I said, because Christian McCaffrey's back, Josh Allen's got a good matchup. Yeah, I guess Josh Allen against Pitt isn't the greatest matchup, but he's a lock to every week. DeAndre Swift against Green Bay, who has an awful run defense. I think I'm going to have to go with my tight ends or ass cheeks.
See, I'm thinking upset.
You're sticking with the Breeze
I'm-
knees? That's
yep.
totally fine.
I'm thinking upset.
There you go. All
Sixth
right.
sense right here.
We'll lock it
Kicking
in. We're locking it in. And like you said, like he's got a good team now. He did some trades at the end of the year and then he's got some solid players. So I think it's going to be another good matchup this week. I'm excited to see how it turns out. And so the last matchup is Big Ben's Bathroom versus Mix and Mac. So this was my bad. We are going to check that bad boy out. All right. And like I was saying, I really don't have faith in Mix and Mac. I feel like he's going to have a tough time keeping up with Big Ben's Bathroom. And I don't think Big Ben's Bathroom is that good either, but I think Mix and Mac is just bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, last week, I mean, it was what Cooper Kupp and Lamar Jackson had the big games, if I remember correctly.
It was no Darren Waller, I think, and Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, yeah.
And Lamar Jackson, yeah. So the three of them kind of held the team aloft last week. Yeah. And they still have good match. I mean, Darren Waller against Indianapolis isn't great, but Jonathan Taylor against Las Vegas is a good matchup, and Lamar Jackson versus Cleveland is a good matchup. So they have good matchups again, and Gio Bernard is playing against Dallas, but I think Joe Mixon might be back, they were saying. Maybe. Either way, he's got Joe Mixon, so Joe Mixon's back. He'll play him instead of Gio Bernard.
What's the stats? Well, it does say this was December 9th, but yeah, it says his foot won't return to practice this week. Bengals official site reports, but
oh yeah, maybe not. Yeah,
so
you're right. It doesn't look like he's suiting up this week.
Guess there's always a possibility, but doubtful.
Yeah, well, he's got Gio Bernard here filling in. So, on the other side, though, like J.K. Dobbins has been really good. Tyreek Hill, obviously. Myles Gaskin's been good while he's been in Miami. And it looks like he's going to be playing. So, I just think that Big Ben's Bathroom is going to win this matchup over Mix and Mac. I just don't think Mix and Mac is very good.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you with Big Ben's Bathrooms as well.
All right. Well, James, we made it.
All right.
We made it through the week. How's it feel?
Feels good.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciated it. I had a blast. I hope you had a blast for your first time on the podcast, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
It's a little strange talking in front of a camera and, feeling like you're being recorded. And don't worry about it. You were great. I was the one that messed up, actually, like way more than you did. So that was all on me. The matchup mix-up at the end there, that was me. So you did great. I loved having you on. And like I said, happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you, Jason.
Yeah. Is there any message that you would like to send out to the league before we close this bad boy out?
My mind's blank except for, no, it's still blank.
Yeah. Well, you got a week to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because you got your bye. You're just relaxing. You're off of fantasy football for a week.
Yep.
There you go.
I guess I should feel somewhat proud.
You're going to be sitting in the shade and drinking margaritas or something.
Maybe a Corona.
There you go. But to all the rest of you, good luck in your matchups. Benaya, I'm going to crush you. And everybody else in my way to a championship, you guys are in danger because this is the playoffs, baby. This is when feast mode comes to shine. So you guys are going to take it up the butt this week and next week and the week after that, and I'm going to beat all of you. The rest of you, the consolation bracket, I hope you don't lose because that means you have to get a calendar and, the license plate frame. But otherwise, for the rest of us shooting for the big kahuna.
The big number one spot.
This guy, the big kahuna. I'm gonna keep it here. It's got a spot right next to my desk here that's just perfect for it. So I think it's gonna stay here for another year. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Everybody else, I will see you guys in a week. And yeah, good luck and goodbye.
See you guys.